Okay, what's going on YouTube? This is the final video, part 3 of the reverse cable change on the Honda Aquatrax R12. It's the same for the F12 and other Aquatrax versions. So we've got our new cable in. This is the long end. There's two ends of the cable. Obviously, the long one comes out the back. Okay. So if we go up here, I actually just got these parts in the mail today, so we're going to be finishing the job. You have to run your grommet up, and the grommet's actually stuck in there. Come out. I'll get it out with a pick here in a sec. And then up there you have just your cable, and then the two little rubber things, one rubber thing, two rubber thing. So we've got our collar locks. This is the part I need, and I'm gonna put the collar locks on this metal collar right there, and it's gonna lock it in place. I'll show you that in a sec. So one thing I want to point out is make sure this rubber grommet goes over this metal. You want it to go down below this metal thing. So it's kind of going to be like, it keeps pushing it down. It's kind of a two-hand thing for me. Yeah, so this needs to go down over that metal, like so. Yep, I almost had it. There we go, perfect. All right, just like that. Now we're going to pull it down just a smidge. Okay, like so. And then the collar lock's going to go right on top of that, right there. Okay, we got the collar lock in. Now we're just going to drop this down on top of the collar lock, like so. And then we're gonna bring our plate that's over the wire, this little plate, and we are going to run it up through here. It's a little difficult to see, but there we go, it's up in. And it's, once again, a two-hand job to get that over there. Okay, so we got the two 8mm bolts on. Our collar lock and grommet are tied in there tight, and I just dropped this little rubber piece and I'm kind of shoving it down in there. So now I'm gonna put on this tan piece right here onto the top of that, those threads. Okay, we got the bolts on, and now we got our plastic piece all the way on. Make sure it's on as far as it can go, and then once it's on as far as it can go, tighten this this nut right here. Just take your finger, tighten it up, and then get it 8mm. These are all 8mm, and then just, you know, obviously it's on now, but when it was off, when I didn't have the C-clip on, I just twisted it and made sure it was tight. I put it on, put the C-clip on. There we go, guys. That is our front end. So now let's go work on the back end. Okay, guys, I have my aluminum aftermarket nut here. Set nut, I believe is what it's called. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some plumber's PTFE or polytetrafluoroethylene. It's just plumber's tape, guys. It has a natural lubricity to it. You can also use like RTV or some type of other seal, you know, gasket sealer. And I'm just gonna, this is kind of tough I'm not the greatest at this kind of thing, but what you're gonna do is you're just gonna want to apply this plumber's tape just around the threads, like so. That way no water will try to enter. Doesn't have to be too much, just enough to make sure. The hardest part's putting it on. Okay, that's good. Okay, so now we have that on. We're going to slide this over like so. Actually, we need our rubber grommet first. Let's grab our rubber grommet. Okay, so I got the grommet on. It doesn't need to be back too far, but I got the grommet on, brand new collar lock on. As you can see, it clamps into that metal piece right there. And, you know, just push it back, let it seat. That way your grommets doesn't, you know, it lines up. And we're just going to slowly, if mine will go in, thread this baby. Okay guys, after fighting stripped threads, I finally got the aluminum nut in there pretty good with the grommet and the collar locks in there. I checked on the inside of the hull. This really took me a long time, and I really had to fight my anger to be patient with it. Because typically when it gets stripped, you're pretty out of luck and you are pretty much screwed. You kind of got to take, you would have to either what's it called? You would have to tap this out and rerun a new larger size custom, you know, nut, or you got to replace this whole plate right here, which you got to take the steering, the trim, this thing off. You got to then take this ride plate, you know, this plate here, scrape that off, pry it off. I mean, that's just a whole lot more work than, it's not hard, but you know, that's definitely, you know, a lot more labor than you want. So I was very gentle. I just kept going in and out. I as you can see, I really, you know, didn't do what you're supposed to do. I took a 24 millimeter socket and just worked it in, and then took it out, brushed it out, scraped it out. I used a pressure washer, I used an air compressor, and I just kept making sure there was no metal shavings in there. And when it was, every time it would make more, I would take it out, and then I would, you know, very, not smart, but it's in there good. It's more than torqued down. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I also use PTFE tape on it. You can kind of see it there. So that seal is good. You can check it, you know, do it the right way. Be patient. Don't do what I did. Mine was sheared, and I was really stuck big time. Like I really should have had to replace the whole plate. I mean, mine was pretty screwed up. But hey, that's why we're making this video, and I hope that it's, you know, it's a pain. But hopefully you have it easy, and you can, you know, if you get, the secret is to really get this piece out in one piece first. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and torque down everything. Okay, so we got everything in, regarding the reverse cable. We're going to put our jet pump back in. I just put a bunch of, marine grade grease in there. Wipe off your drive shaft right there. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. You don't really want a whole lot of play. You can pull it out, and like it'll come out a bit, but you don't, like, if I wasn't holding this, it'd be like, just push it in. Make sure you shouldn't really be able to turn it. Push it in. I just replaced this O-ring here. It's your jet pump O-ring. Make sure that's clean. Okay, everyone, so we got the jet pump back on. There's 4 bolts. I believe you're supposed to use some type of locking agent, but I didn't. Mine actually had like an anti-seize on them, but I made sure to torque them down. The torque specs, I think, is 16 foot-pounds or 22 Newton meters, something like that. It's in the service manual. Look up Honda aquatrax service manual. Go down to the jet pump, propulsion, and then the reverse areas. You will find the torque specs for the jet pump in the jet pump section, and then the bucket and the reverse in the reverse section. So I got that red nut in there. We're gonna test it lake tomorrow. She's good to go. But honestly, I just blanked like putting it back together. Maybe it's because I'm tired, but anyways, you have I think these are 14. You have a bolt here, washer, a bushing, and then you have a nut, a washer that goes, and then this is in between. Same thing here. You can see it, nut, washer, and then the line for your trim. Over here you have a let's see here, bolt. Actually, that probably needs torque. Maybe it needs torqued a little more. I don't know. I torqued that down all the way. I'll double check it tomorrow before I hit the lake. I know for sure I torqued that down, and I had a ratchet on this side. I was just holding it down. I torqued the other side. Anyways, this took me a little minute to figure out. I totally blanked, but you got to put this bolt in down here. That one's kind of hard to get to unless you have, I just used a ratchet, a ratcheting wrench, and then that goes through like so. Then you have this bolt here and another one with the bushing. So pretty simple mechanism. Make sure you torque everything down to spec. I think these were also the same, but don't take my word. I'm just some guy on the internet. I honestly am telling you now, I forget. They're two. There's like 3 torque specs, 7, 16, and there might be one more. It could just be those 2. But anyways, that's the job, guys. The reverse now works good. I'll show you. I was just running the ski a little bit, and I was gonna, very smooth. It clicks, super smooth. Clicks in the reverse, no issues whatsoever. trim is the same as it was before, same with steering, and I made sure to spray CRC spray right here. That's just a marine lubricant. So that's good to go. I think that's it, guys. I'm not gonna make this much longer than it needs to be. That's it. And while you're at it with your grease, make sure to grease up this point here. That goes down in, I believe, your bearing right in there. In that black boot. Just give it a couple pumps, nothing crazy. Always spray CRC on your turbo wastegate here. That goes up, and you'll feel as the pressure builds in the exhaust. Once it hits a certain PSI, it actually opens the wastegate and lets exhaust out. A lot of times that sticks right there. So, okay, that's all for this video.